Hi, everybody, and welcome to what is possibly the first ever get together on a Hindu New Year. We don't really do anything specific on this day. In fact, this is the first time I think in my life that I've even acknowledged that we have a Hindu Happy New Year. But the energies of yesterday, today, so open, so 1111, like a portal, like a gateway, like a door, like a window, something's opening into a brand new future, a brand new tomorrow. And I thought that we must definitely use the energy to close some old doors and walk through some new ones. So, my darlings, first of all, please tell me, how have the last couple of days been for y'all? Do y'all have this sense of something finishing, of something new starting? I mean, there has been the election results, and I'm thinking that is also another indication of how some old doors are closing, some older energies of, what's the gentle word? Some older energies of orange hair are no longer in place, and newer energies have come in. In fact, I was talking about Biden's speech, welcome speech, opening speech, and she was telling me how he used the word heal, that it is a time to heal, and how Kamala Harris, the newly appointed VP, also mentioned Joe Biden as a healer. And I thought, wow, if the world's biggest super economic power is looking at words like heal and healing, what does that say for the rest of the world? Something, right? Some sort of acknowledgement that ascension is taking place, some sort of acknowledgement and acceptance of the fact that healing is required, that healing is taking place. In fact, I would go so far as to say that for the next 100 years, for the next century, apart from technology, the one industry that's going to take off is the healing industry. So thank you very much, my darlings, for you all being here, for saying yes. It was such an impromptu call. Hardly gave you all a heads up, but thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for celebrating this, and thank you for being brave and bold to walk into this new age that I think is already upon us, and all we're going to do today is receive it. Let me check. How have the last couple of days been for y'all? And Vandana says, you are tempting me to reach for a whiskey with the water. Why not? Have it, I say. And Vinita says, yes. And Mandy says, I feel lighter and hopeful. And Bridget says, absolutely yes. And Nishi says, hopeful times ahead. Gabrielle says, Happy New Year. Learned this morning we'll have a new HR person on the team. Woke up more refreshed than I have been in a long time. Beautiful. Harneet says, few days. I'm like thinking, yes, looking for change. Have a cold and cough, but energy is good. Fantastic. Daisy says, don't feel much difference. Got it? Got it. The first way that I would like us to receive this energy is first have space within us to receive this particular energy of New Year. There is a global New Year that we all celebrate on December 31st. This is like a run-up to that New Year. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to see either a house or a shop which has a lot of shelves. Maybe you can be in a room with a lot of shelves. I want you to see these shelves. And I want you to see what is the old stock on these shelves. And you'll see that very clearly because these old stocks will have cobwebs on them. Maybe this particular room or this shop or this house is also not very well lit. So I want you to very quickly, energetically start doing a spring clean. All the objects that have been stocked, that are way past their shelf life, that are not working anymore, that are in a state of disrepair that you held on to because you didn't know when you might need them, just start throwing them out of a window that has miraculously appeared where you're cleaning. And see yourself with brooms, with swabs, with water, with disinfectant, with the army that you might require at that time. Everything you need is there, including a gigantic hose pipe of cleansing, clearing water. Clean this space. Everything that you see in this space and place that is old and murky and having fungus on it or just rotting, all of these will represent an emotion, a thought, or a behavior. For the most part, the way we think, the way we feel, the way we behave become our own blind spots. But when we enter into these dimensions and take a look at what is past its shelf life, we start seeing them as objects, which is the thought solidified will represent something on the shelf. The emotion solidified will represent something. The behavior solidified will represent something. The dimension that we do this work in is a dimension of the superconscious, where the subconscious as well as the unconscious, along with the conscious, because with the conscious we have gone into this dimension, are all interacting and communicating with us. When you've thrown it out, whatever was not required, when you've hosed the entire place down, when you've swabbed it, dusted it, wiped it clean, you want to make sure that the light is on brightly and whatever objects are right now on the shelves, and there may not be any, are sparkling. Out of the objects that your superconscious, in alignment with your highest good, has kept behind, I want you to choose the object that is most attractive to you right now. I want you to take this object in your hand. I want you to see it across all dimensions, from top, from the bottom, turning it round and round in your hand. I want you to connect with this object. This is an object that will represent a new thought, emotion, and behavior, desire, intention, decisions, choices in your life going forward from today. What is this object? And what does this object require you to do? Maybe you will get an answer right now, maybe you won't, and that's okay. As long as you are embracing this object, as long as you are receiving from this object will continue to communicate with you over the next coming days. So take your time, my darlings. If you want to open your eyes for a few seconds, you need water because this communication takes up a lot of energy charges in the body. So you might start feeling thirsty in the middle of it all. Make sure you're hydrated. Finish your communication and receipt of this object. When you are done, you're going to put it back on the shelf and return to your body and the awareness of your body, the strength of your body, the solidity of your body in this dimension. Make sure that before you return to this dimension in your body, that you've left the space and place with a bright light. Like actually put on a switch. Let a light come on in the room. And when you're done, sit back, take a deep breath, relax, slump. You've done well. Tell me that you're back. Our work is not yet complete in the other dimension. This is just for you all to have a water break, breathe, fully assimilate and absorb the message from your object. We have to go to another place. Whenever the time for something new comes, invariably that means change. Change invariably means letting go of something, which in turn can bring about a deep fear of loss. Change, new, letting go, all of these are synonyms for the word healing. Everywhere that you are resistant to the new, to the change, to letting go, to healing, you can all leave now, 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 you can all leave now. You can all leave now. You can all leave now, 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 you can all leave now. You can all leave now. You can all leave now, 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 you can all leave now. You can all leave now. I no longer need fear the new. You no longer need fear the new. I no longer need fear. You no longer need fear. I no longer need to fear change. You no longer need to fear change. I no longer need to fear healing. You no longer need to fear healing. I no longer need to fear letting go. You no longer need to fear letting go. I no longer fear change. You no longer fear change. I no longer fear the new. You no longer fear the new. I no longer fear letting go. You no longer fear letting go. I no longer fear healing. You no longer fear healing. In these fears, the actual fear is the fear of having more, receiving more, doing more, making more, earning more, generating more, creating more, recreating more, regenerating more. The sense of more that our conscious mind is always asking us, as is our heart, because our heart will not settle for anything less than the infinite. Always, ye dil mange more. We want more. At the same time, all of us have some sense of what this more means. Either the fear of doing more, you can leave now, the fear of having more because it is not allowed in the family, how can you do better than them? You can leave now. The fear of inviting other people's expectations, jealousies, ill will if you have more, you can leave now. All of these can hold us back. And in our lives, there is usually a family member or somebody in our inner circle who holds us back. I want you to keep your object in your arms and see yourself in this empty space where one foot is forward, but something or someone is holding you back. Either you'll see this as your clothes being pulled back or an energetic sense that somebody is holding you back. Who is this person? What is this thing? I want you to become very clear about that and then leave the image frozen like that and come back here. Some of y'all are familiar with name dropping, some of y'all are not. Name dropping is when we take accountability of the fact that everybody represents something in me, that everybody is carrying an energy that I am attached to, and that this energy has gotten convoluted and twisted, which is why they now have the power to hold us back. And we are allowing them to hold us back for whatever reason that we have, whatever our fears might be. This person or this memory or this situation will come only from your past. It can be from your childhood, it can be from your past life, it can be an ancestral program as well. See who's holding you back, as in literally pulling you back even as you're taking that one step forward. And once you've identified who this person is, if you know their name, you're going to address them by their name and say, you can leave now. 12 times for women, 16 times for men. There will be one leader of who and what is holding you back. Work with the leader first. So let us say the name is Jane. So we will say, Jane, you can leave now 12 times. Let us say the name is Jack. We will say, Jack, you can leave now 16 times. Like Mandy says, it is not safe for me to have more than my mom. This is an old pattern from childhood. And Mandy, you'd be amazed at how many of us have this terrible fear of getting more than our mothers or our fathers. It's like our family decides our limit. Our family decides our ceiling. If you are seeing your mom holding you back, hang on. I'm going to come to how we're going to do this with parents. I want you to first practice name dropping with just the name of the leader, and you can leave now. Vinita says, I am seeing myself only holding me back. And when we see ourselves only holding me back, we could be seeing a younger self. We could be seeing us from a parallel life. We could be seeing us from a past life. We could be seeing us as the embodiment of the thought that's holding us back. So, so Vinita, check what it is. Emotions can hold us back as well. So something that you see, because you will see a form pulling back your cloak or pulling back your dress or pulling back your shirt. Identify this form. And Trishi says, my own shadow. Superb. Do you do things to avoid your negativity? Because our shadows are our negativities, the parts of us we don't want to see. The greedy parts of us, the killer parts of us, the murderous parts of us, the terrorist parts of us, the tyrant parts of us, the abusive parts of us. Linda says, my thoughts are holding me back. What form did your thoughts take? And Bridget saw a chain on my foot. Superb. This was actually the next stage we were going to check for shackles on your feet and handcuffs on your hands. But first, the back. Bridget, the chain on your foot, is it attached to a rock? That rock will have a name. Sarah says, I'm holding myself back with self-doubt. Sarah, give self-doubt a form, you will get a name. Self-doubt, unworthiness, undeservingness, not being safe, all of these are learned attributes and somebody taught them to us, invariably a parent. So see who it is. Karishma says, I just joined the call at the right time. I feel like it's my relationship with my dad that's holding me back. To an extent, it's me who's holding me back, fearful to unchain myself. Maybe I am comfortable living in the familiar. All of us, my darlings, all of us. We like the familiar. We're terrified of the new. We're terrified of the unfamiliar. We're terrified where we would have to start counting and depending on ourselves to come up with the solutions and make different choices and decisions. Vandana asks, it will be people closest to us who would be pulling us back or we ourselves. And here's the thing about the people closest to us pulling us back. We attract those who hold us back so that we can say they are holding us back. If you have a desire to move ahead, you will manifest people and resources and toolkits and support systems that help you move ahead. So somewhere a desire to be held back will give rise to the presence of these people from the past holding us back, old relationships, old heartbreaks, old grudges, old anger. Like Preeti also says, myself, an emotion of being failure and not good enough. Arunima says, could it be my employer also? For sure. Your employer will have a first name. If it's a woman, please take the first name like Jane and say, you can leave now 12 times. Sarah says, I see my dad. All right, my darlings. Take a look at the chain, name of the rock. Take a look at your self-doubt. Give it a form. It will have a name. Come up with whatever garbled name you can think of. It's all right. Teja says husband, son, father. Saira says dad. Vinita says younger self. Harneet also says a younger self. Younger selves hold us back when they have not gotten what they need to be set free. Younger selves hold us back when we treat them unkindly, when we refuse to take a look at what they are saying to us via our emotions and our behaviors. lot of us behave and exhibit the same characteristics as we did when we were 3, 4, 5, 10, 14. All of us have some sense of stuckness. That stuckness, of course, includes us, but it also includes the people and the most important people of that time and that age. And Karishma says, the name of my rod on which the chain is tied is called Karishma. Great awareness, my darling. Great awareness. So let us go with seeing ourselves, not for the younger self, but if you're seeing just yourself, or you've seen your name like Karishma has seen her name, just please say this particular sentence. What will happen if I no longer hold myself back? What will happen if I am not held back by me anymore? What will happen if I don't hold myself back anymore? And by the way, that's a decree, so it's not a question. And then check what's happening if you are holding yourself back. Has the grip loosened? Are you now just standing quietly at attention while the you that is moving forward is able to take the next step forward? Because one foot is already ahead. Teresa says, love that decree. Post to please. Done, ma. We will have it up on the group tomorrow. Linda says, feeling free. Are you answering the question, my darling, or are you telling me what's happened after you gave the decree? So not a question. What will happen is not a question. What will happen is another way of saying what if. What if I don't hold myself back anymore? What if I no longer need to hold myself back anymore? What if I no longer hold myself back anymore? I am an expert at letting myself move ahead. I am an expert at letting myself move ahead. I am an expert at not holding back. I am an expert at not constantly trying to control myself through fear, grief, or anger. And remember, when you're seeing yourself there, you are seeing yourself there with the object in your arms. Nishna says, I see a chain boulder on my ankle. Please check what the name of this chain and boulder is. Once you've done this, for those of y'all who are seeing the younger self, turn around. Put the object on the side. Go to your younger self. Take her or him in your arms. And then, with your child in your arms, sweep up your object, turn around again, take a step forward. Our younger selves hold us back because they think that if we move forward, we will forget about them. And this always comes from parents who forgot about us, for whom we didn't exist or were not priority. Bridget says, it's my ability, name of rock. Oh, the name of the rock is it's my ability, so it's a thought that's holding you back. And would that make sense to you, Bridget? It's my ability. Thelma says, how do I fit an image of an ancestor holding me back with these decrees? Thelma, just check the name of the ancestor. Make a sound of whatever name is trying to express itself. The name doesn't have to make sense. Donna says, chain around the heart. Please put your hand in, Donna. Take the chain off. Vinita says, feeling a lot of love holding my little self. Wonderful. You will. Your object will also help you connect with the younger self, because we cannot move forward leaving our younger selves behind. They will just keep calling us. And Bridget says, it makes sense to her. This does make sense. Think I lose it while moving forward. What will happen if I don't lose my abilities and capabilities while moving forward? What if I do not lose my capabilities and abilities while moving forward? I am an expert at moving forward, taking all my capabilities and abilities with me. Nishna says, my dadi's name, that's your paternal grandmother's name, popped up, so I did name dropping with her. Fantastic. Thelma says, name is Rucha that I seem to hear. Go ahead, my darling. Rucha, you can leave now, and please check if it's male or female. Mandy says, I felt emotional acknowledging and holding my younger self. My younger self is happier and freer now. And most important, she knows you're going to take her along. So she doesn't have to hold you back. Wherever you are moving ahead, when she needs your attention, she will call for your attention and you will give it to her. You're not fighting her. You're not trying to get rid of her. You're not trying to cut cords with her. You can't. And one of y'all said that my feet are free, but I'm not moving. Mandy, are you moving now? Thelma, Rucha is female, you say. Go ahead, my darling. 12 times. Rucha, you can leave now. I also want to say that, we celebrated the Festival of Lights just 2 days back. And the Festival of Lights is also a festival of light because it's the triumph of darkness, of light over dark, of good over evil, of knowledge and wisdom over ignorance. So in a way, a battle between old, how it used to be, and the new, how it can be. That energy is continuing to flow into today, and I have no doubt will continue to flow a little while longer. So anytime that you want to hear this call, especially this particular week, or at least till 29th of November, please do so. Keep setting yourself free. Donna says, my younger self feels very wary, anxious, don't leave me. You have held her. You've picked up your object and you've turned around. And Mandy is moving now. Superb. Superb. Give me a signal, my darlings. Can we do name dropping with the parents? When you move forward, please check that no new handcuffs or new chains and rocks and boulders and are coming in. Donna says, yes, holding her, carrying her with the chain. Was the chain your object, Donna? All right, my darlings, let's go for this. So, and let us do it for both parents, even if you're seeing one parent. If our father doesn't hold us back, our mothers do. If our mothers don't hold us back, our fathers do. If neither of them is holding back, their programs and judgments and limitations and limiting beliefs and choices can hold us back. Whatever it is, however active, inactive, covert, or overt our families are in holding us back, giving the name dropping decrees with parents will make sure that we are no longer bound to their set of limitations. Karishma says, I could see myself instantly unchained when I realized my name. Fantastic. Fantastic. Let us go with the father first. So whatever you address your father as, whether it's dad or papa or pop or father or dada or nanu, poppity, however you address your father, you're going to say that, let us say it is Pop. Pop, you can leave now 8 times. Followed by his first name. And you can leave now 8 times. Followed by his full name, including his middle name if he has any. You can leave now 8 times. Followed by, I no longer need to be held back by my father. I am no longer held back by my father. Mishna says all members of my family, cousins mostly, all members of the family are distinct expressions of the core family gene, which will be coming from the parents. So just do this as well, and you should see your cousins either turning around and walking off or disappearing into thin air. Alice says, I'm suddenly coughing a lot, saying that now. So there may be a lot of protests inside because the logical mind is going to say, don't ask me to do this. I'm not going to do this. This is so frightening. What will happen? I mean, my father will not be there with me. As children and as eternal children, we always want that sense of attachment, connection, and belonging to our parents. So when you do a name dropping with a parent, some amount of fear and anxiety can come up. Please know that all that you're really doing is making the flow of energy smooth between y'all. Because at this point, it'll all be convoluted by the things that have happened between you and your father. None of us has had a perfect father, always giving, always protective, always providing, always there for us, always broad shoulders. when we do name dropping with our parents, the traumas between us and our parents release. Then instead of attaching, which is a lower vibration of belonging and comes from deep fear of not being connected to the parents, then we can move into the higher vibration of connecting with our parents. And Karishma says she agrees. She felt frightened too while saying this. Mustered courage, as I do feel 100% need for this relationship to get better. Each one of us has a codependent relationship with our parents. Codependent is not a good word. It's a word where there is a constant power struggle, control games, and where the negativities and the darknesses of each other are what keep getting triggered. And we have it with both our parents. We have the good as well, the light, white, bright as well. We never have to touch that. That's already there. Linda says, my dad sent me love and relief and love. Beautiful. Thelma says, hair and clothing pulling stopped, though a longer, smaller chain is still attached, dragging on ground. Just bend down and open it up, my love. Harneet says, I feel my holdback energy is that people can make fun of me, which is what your parents did when you were crying, right? So basically, you will not be received for the sensitive soul that you are, for the emotional woman that you are. That if you reveal your emotions, that if you express yourself, people will make fun of you. And that's horrible because there's so much judgment in people making fun of us, so much superiority, it makes us feel so small and bad and inferior. So, Harneet, just keep doing this. We've just done it with the Father. Let us now go for the ultimate goddess in our life, which is our mother. How much ever we want to hate her, not be like her, move away from her, the umbilical cord between mother and child is never cut. So let's make sure that that umbilical cord is feeding us light, white, bright, right energies only. Donna says there was always a power struggle with my father. He said he was sorry he molested me for 14 years. He couldn't really change because of mom. And let's take a look at what mom might have to say at this point. But Donna, are you ready to let this go? So, however you address your mom, mama, maiter, mother, ma, however you address her, you can leave now 6 times. What her first name is, you can leave now 6 times. Whatever her married name is, you can leave now 6 times. Nishna, bend down and just open the chain. Either you'll have a key over there or the chain will just open up or come undone as you bend down to take it off. Most important, your mother's maiden name, you can leave now 6 times. If your mother's maiden name is the same as her married name, do it again. And Linda says, great sadness, saying that. Yes, my darling. Grief, sadness, saying that. Because however our mothers have been with us, that is the mother we know, and that is the mother that is part of our familiar environment, survival environment. We survived because the mother was the way she was. So we associate life and death with the mother. When we work on changing the relationship with our mothers, by the way, the last part of the healing journey is the journey of the relationship between mother and child, and this can take some years. And you have to be very gentle because you cannot do it on a daily basis. The mother won't allow it. So very slowly, very gently. Vandana says, lots of burping saying mother's name, so your mother has caused you a lot of anxiety. Alice says, felt heat rising up the body saying it. And Alice, that would be a lot of anger with the mother as well as the mother's anger. So Vandana, there would also be the mother's anxiety. Nandi says, big yawns and feeling so tired. And we know tiredness comes from trauma. So somewhere there has been a traumatizing mother relationship, mother-child relationship, as well as a traumatized mother. Because every child comes in knowing that they are willing to carry the baggage, burdens, as well as the blessings of the family. We carry our mother's anger, our father's judgments, our mother's grief, our father's limitation. We carry it for them because this is the meaning of lineage, right? A crow's baby looks like the crow. We look like our parents. I mean, the identification is so much. And once you're done with the mother's maiden name, I no longer need to be held back by my mother. I am no longer held back by my mother. What will happen if I am no longer held back by my family? What will happen if I am no longer held back by my past lives? What will happen if I am no longer held back by my ancestral programs? What will happen if I am no longer held back by curses and ill will? Oh, this is a big one, Mandy. Secrets, the secrets of the family. You know, the secrets of the family can give rise to a lot of weight gain around the lower abdomen because the root chakra inflates to store the secrets of the family. You can leave now. I no longer need to be defined by my family's expectations. I no longer need to be defined by my family's definitions. And the power of that decree is that when our parents, and invariably a parent would have said something somewhere, the nicest of parents would have said it. Whether they called us dumb or stupid or drama queen or useless or unworthy, we will want to make it correct because that is the law of obedience. Every child has this within. Always the desire to make the family right. I remember I was working with this young girl and who had a very narcissistic, almost sadistic mother. And when I said this is the classic description of a narcissistic, sadistic person, she immediately changed to what her mother was doing right. No, but my mother also pushes me to study. It's good. At least she wakes me up in the morning. If she wasn't doing it, maybe I could. We always defend our family's limitations. We always defend our family's definitions. Money does not grow on trees. If we have heard it, we will hold on to it for life, as in for dear life. It'll be the hardest to remove because the definitions of family are the definitions that we use to make sense of reality. Which means that if we are letting this go, my reality is going to change. Meaning I'm not going to know what else I should be doing. How do I handle this? If you're going to tell me that this table is no longer going to be called a table, I am going to go into madness because I'm not going to know what to do with this table. I don't even know it's a table. So at many levels, change is very, very frightening. The familiar is solid. You can hold on to it. The unfamiliar is ether. You can't hold on to it till you've spent enough time in it to make it your solid. I no longer need to be defined by my family's responsibilities. I no longer need to be defined by my family's judgments. I no longer need to be defined by my family's limiting beliefs. I no longer need to be defined by my family's beliefs. I no longer need to be defined by my family relationships. I no longer need to be defined by my family's financial realities. I no longer need to be defined by my family's irresponsibilities. I no longer need to be defined by my family's traumas. I no longer need to be defined by my family's abuses. I no longer need to be defined by my family's choices. I no longer need to be defined by my family's decisions. Mandy, these big secrets, my darling, is from 29th November till 14th December. Please write them down and burn it. It is too much for a child to carry big secrets, especially secrets of the mother. Nishna says, I suddenly had urge to have my son do name dropping with his father and grandfather and grandmother. Very good, my darling. This is good. Messages from the universe come like this only. Sudden urges, sudden thought. Teresa says, my father used to say, you can't get blood from a stone. And in how many ways have you followed that through? Do you try very hard when you come up with resistance? Because the part of us that's blindly obedient is the other side of the coin where we are consciously rebellious. I no longer need to be defined by my ancestral choices. I no longer need to carry my family's grief. I no longer need to carry my family's fears. I no longer need to carry my family's anger. I no longer need to carry my family's baggage and burdens. I no longer need to carry my ancestors' fears. I no longer need to carry my ancestors' anger. I no longer need to carry my ancestors' grief. Process, my darlings. Have water. Neha says, I no longer need to carry my family history of no marriage or bad, hard marriages. Superb. I no longer need to carry my family's definitions, limitations, judgments, choices, actions, decisions, responsibilities, irresponsibilities, traumas, abuse, baggage. And Donna says, this makes me so scared, so nauseous. And that is correct, my darling. Because while statistically we know that the biggest fear in the world is the fear of public speaking, the biggest fear in the world is actually the fear of change. Let me tell you why. The way that we define ourselves becomes the I. I. I am a girl. If I didn't know I was a girl, I would stand in a pot thinking I'm a plant. The I that we are, the sum total of the definitions. I live in Bombay is also part of my definition. So I know where I live. I'm not floating around trying to figure out where my house is, where my home is. My family lives in Kolkata. I am not lost roaming around the world looking for them. I know that my family is in Kolkata. Our definitions are our knowings. Those knowings are the facts around which we plan and base our life and our choices and our decisions. So that I, that is the collection of this data that defines us, is the ego. Ahankara. I prefer the Sanskrit term because the word ego in English is so corrupted to mean egotistical, like it's a bad word. It's not. It's actually a technical term that is only the composite of every definition you have about yourself, including the definition of life, love, money, the government, relationships, your mother, your father, yourself, your body. It includes all definitions. Definitions give us grounding. When we start changing these definitions, we are unraveling at the most basic foundation of us. It's very frightening. The fear of change is also the fear of losing definitions. The fear of change is the fear of being ungrounded. Each one of us knows this in our unconscious, that there is nothing that can happen for us if we are ungrounded. The connection to earth is as real as the connection to our mothers. I mean, and she's called Mother Earth, right? We are fed by Mother Earth. Everything comes to us from earth. We live because of earth. When we die, we return to her. When we start loosening this definition, loosening this connection, it makes us frightened for our lives. So, my darlings, acknowledge the fear. Say there's nausea coming up, which is also fear. The fear is the changing of definitions, my darling. Where the ego says, listen, I've gotten you this far. Because of all of these definitions, you have survived. Now you're telling me that you know better than me? I'm not going to let this happen. The ego gets very frightened because the ego is a sentient, what should I say, a sentient house. Because this house has all of these definitions in it. All ways that it has aligned the world to sanity. I know men are like this. I know the government is like this. I know trees are like that. I know my house is like this. I know my pet is like that. It makes sense of life. letting go of these definitions can feel terrorizing, but only in the moment. Don't fight it. Be in Sakshi Bhav, witness mode. Remember how you breathe and you focus only on the breath? Let your fears come. Let it shake your body. Let it make you weep with overwhelm. All overwhelm comes when big changes are taking place, where you are being pushed out of comfort zone, where your definitions are breaking down. Daisy, heaviness in the head is trauma as well as anger. So can you please let this go now? Even though you don't know who you'll be if you stopped being angry. I no longer need to know who I have to be. I can always become who I want to be. I no longer need fear not having definition. Because imagine if you let go of these definitions, I'm not good enough being like the biggest one in the world, right? That if you let go of the I'm not good enough, can you not happily learn and teach yourself the definition of I am good enough? So not trusting yourself, not trusting that you will have the answers, not trusting that the new will be exciting, will be joyful, will be fun, is everything that you're asking for. I forgot what I said in the beginning. Anyway, this whole set of distrust and self-doubt that make you terrified of new definitions and therefore make you want to align with older ones. You can all leave now, 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 you can all leave now. You can all leave now. You can all leave now, 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 you can all leave now. You can all leave now. Check what is happening in the other dimension. Are you now walking ahead, running ahead, strolling ahead, swiftly moving ahead? If you're carrying your child, very good. Not carrying the child, very good. But the object needs to be with you. Because invariably when we start looking at other speed breakers that come in as we do this work, we'll forget the object. We'll put it away or it'll disappear from our hands. Continuously keep coming back to the object in your hands. Thelma, it is such a freeing decree to say I no longer need fear having definitions. I no longer need fear having no definitions. I no longer need fear definitions, because the power of not having this definition means you can now choose how you would like to be defined. The world's most powerful affirmations use the I am. I am free now. I am new now. I am free now. I am new now. I am free now. I am new now. I am at home now. Donna says, feels stunned, heart pounding hard. The heart pounds hard when you've got to force a lot of energy and blood and lymphatic fluids to push out the stuck energy. Stuck energy is like a boulder. So the more energy required to push this boulder out and down the cliff, the more the heart has to work. It tells you how big the boulder has been. Karishma says, I feel like sleeping. My head and nape of the neck hurt. Please rest, my darling, and please have lots of water. Head and nape of the neck hurts. You can leave now. You can leave now. You can leave now. You can leave now. And Karishma, take a look at this expression, my darling. You've used the word hurt. So you could be carrying hurt from the past that you're not willing to let go of. Maybe till justice is done, or somebody has apologized, or vengeance has taken place, or revenge has happened. But whatever that is, my darling, it's definitely holding you back. I gave myself a quick water break there. Please feel free to do so as well, my darling. Tell me how you all are. Bridget says not moving forward. Bridget, what's going on, darling? And we have radio silence, my darlings, as everybody is continuously processing and sharing their processing. Donna says, am I supposed to be carrying boulder and chain with the little girl in my arms, or do I just drop the boulder and chain and carry the little one forward? My darling, why would you carry the boulder and chain at all? The object, did you take the boulder and chain from the shelves in the room? Please drop them. And Dr. Asha says, I'm hungry. Dr. Asha, please eat something. Vandana says, feeling light and free. Along with digital cleaning, I cleared material things and most importantly, unnecessary human connections, relatives, friends, and acquaintances. It's extremely liberating. Absolutely. Each and every person in our lives is an aspect of us. So basically we have like 7 billion aspects to us because there are 7 billion people on the planet. When we start deciding which aspect we are going to feed and which aspect we are going to stop feeding, they will start reflecting in who is in your life, who is leaving your life, who is coming into your life. Daisy says, head feels lighter and sleepy. Close your eyes, ma. It'll pass. This is just great trauma. when our definitions are changing, if the conscious mind is awake, it will get in the way, which is when headaches take place. When the superconscious and the unconscious realize the power of what is taking place in the changing of definitions, it puts us to sleep. So that the conscious mind, the inner critic, the mental chatter, do not interrupt the process. Check, my darlings. Are you all walking, running, strolling, jogging, moving ahead? And Bridget says, as each parent separately forced me to keep it secret what they did with me, I still am frozen because if I move forward, be seen, secrets would come out. What will happen if secrets come out? Do you need to keep it a secret anymore? And Vandana says, sprinting ahead, fantastic, fantastic. And give me 1 second, my darlings. I want to play a certain sound. And I want to play this for all of us. So, all right, it's not coming on. My apologies. It'll come. And when it does, you will hear the sound. Oh, and here's the sound. So well done, Vandana. And when you're sprinting forward, can you see the road ahead clearly in front of you? Can you see the path? Can you see what's around you? And Nishi says, strolling, my object brings me comfort. We definitely want to hear the sound again. All right, and time for our next winner to show up. Bridget says they would be confronted, have to handle the consequences. So in family constellation, they have this really beautiful sentence. And I'd like you all to try this. So Bridget, Mandy, just please say, however you address your mom, let us say you call her mom. Mom, I'm returning your secrets back to you. They are for you to carry, not me. And do the same with your father as well. Papa, I am returning your secrets to you. They are for you to carry, not me. Thelma says, started slowly moving, sensing I will get faster. Wow, we must immediately. And Asha has given us another way you're moving forward, which is gliding with the diamond in my hand. Fantastic. Fantastic. And Donna says, I can see a path which is new. And Karishma says, I saw myself moving ahead in a way that I was moving with my trainer getting fitter. Fantastic. Fantastic. And so for a whole bunch of us, who are our next round of winners? Let's take a look. Vinita says, feeling light. For those of you all who are ready, my darlings, with your baby and the object in your hand, I want you to see yourselves surrounded by lush green grounds. Maybe a forest, maybe plants, maybe trees, but lush greenery around you. Greenery is about prosperity, it's about support, it's about resources, it's about food, of course it's about money. So as you are walking down the path, I want you to see this on both sides. Let your path be unlimited, going off into the distance. And clearly that was too much for my computer because my page is hung. Give me 1 second, my darling. In the meantime, we shall enjoy the universe cheering us on. So very well done, my darlings. So very well done. I am free now. I am new now. I am renewed now. I am restored now. I am anew now. And I must tell you this one particular I am, which is the divine version of I am willing, I am willing, I am willing. I think I mentioned it on the last call as well. And this one is I am open now. 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 A whole set of divine decrees that use the I am is coming up in our next body of work. And I know that a couple of you all mentioned that you all don't know which decrees to use where, and don't worry at all, my darlings. Just go with whatever comes to you the easiest. Don't make it a list that you have to learn or memorize or a to-do list. Like, I'll do this, then I'll do that, then. The energy is about not being defined by any definition. So whatever decrees you do know and are most comfortable with, use them. In fact, Neptune went direct on the 14th, and that could have also made us quite emotional. But Mars is going direct on the 29th, and Mars on his way out has given us such an amazing single word decree. It's incredible. I was going to introduce it on today's call, but I realized it may have become too much in all the clearing that we're doing. and then trying to see how to use this new word. But please do join me, my darlings, on the 24th on the Alara Canfield show. I will send out the link. It will be a Zoom call, and I will put up the link as well. And we're going to use Ma as a single word victory. You will be so amazed by what it does because it's like a single word for a chronic project. Everybody remembers chronic project? As in the chronic project protocol? Dilly says, I see myself winning a lottery of many $1 million and all of my friends are cheering. Fantastic. Fantastic. Nandi is walking, smiling, carrying little me and my new gold clock, feeling light and bright, surrounded by lovely greenery. Beautiful. Bridget says, I'm open to let my parents carry the load of their actions themselves. Fantastic. Fantastic. I no longer need to carry my family's secrets. I no longer need to carry the load and baggage and heaviness and burdens of my family. I no longer need to keep secrets for my parents. I no longer need to carry hidden shame of my parents. I no longer need to carry the guilt of my parents. I no longer need to stay in the dark, live in the dark, and keep this in the dark. I am open now. I am free now. I am new now. Thank you very much, my darling. It was wonderful to spend New Year's with you all and do a little bit of work. I look forward to seeing you on the group and on the next call as well. Big love, big hugs, big success, big winning. Namaste from India.